The Gauteng Premier David Makhura is currently visiting Alexandra township north of Johannesburg to see the damage caused following last night's looting of shops. 8 people have been arrested after several shops were looted. Makhura has been accompanied by Gauteng Police Commissioner Elias Mawela and Community Safety MEC Faith Mazibuko. He's appealed for calm. We cross live now to our reporter on the scene, Nozintombi Mia in Alexandra. Nozintombi, thank you. What can you tell us? Has David Makhura now left?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Francis. Premier David Makhura has certainly left. He, along with the MEC of Community Safety, as well as the Provincial Police Commissioner, are making their way now to Town, where they will be assessing the situation in the CBD as well as in Town, and they will be making sure that they give the Minister of Police a proper briefing on what has happened here in Alex. When the Premier came about 30 to 40 minutes ago, he was given a bit of a tour of the shops that have been looted, and you could just see the utter displeasure on his face, and you could hear the sentiments from him when he briefed us as the media that the issue of criminality is a serious issue that will be dealt with. He even went so far as to say that the army will be brought in if police feel that they do not have a handle on this issue of criminality. And what the Premier is saying, that the issues of citizens having genuine concerns around socio-economic issues is one issue. However, foreign nationals who are in the country legally should be protected. However, issue of criminality is a serious issue that the Premier says the police will keep a very close eye on, will monitor very closely, and the army will be brought in if the issue of criminality continues to spiral out of control. Now, you'll remember, Francis, at least 8 people have been arrested here in Alex since last night. And when we spoke to the Provincial Commissioner, he said that they have a very strong lead on who was responsible or who was behind this organized act of criminality that is targeting certain businesses, alleged foreign businesses. And they say that before the end of the day, they will ensure that they have brought to book all of the people who were part of that particular act of criminality.
I think that would be most welcome indeed. Are foreign-owned shops still being targeted? We're hearing in parts of Gauteng that the looting has now become indiscriminate, Nozintombi.
It certainly does seem to be quite indiscriminate, Francis. When we got here, we spoke to a gentleman who said he was a Somali gentleman and he owns a retail store. And he says that last night they got a phone call to say that their shops were being looted. And he says that he's calling for interventions to be made or for the conversation to be had between foreign nationals and South Africans and government and all bodies that can contribute, or think tanks that can contribute towards there being harmony brought back with relations between South African nationals and foreign nationals. However, just next door to his store is a bottle store owned by a South African gentleman. And he's saying that this is sheer criminality. So it seems on the surface that it is an act of criminality. Perhaps there were genuine concerns on Sunday and on Monday. And overall, there are genuine concerns about the socio-economic issues that poor people in South Africa face. However, the acts of criminality seem to have just taken over the momentum. And, the issue of the rampant looting. On Sunday, we saw that there was a car dealership that was looted and cars were burnt. Sheer criminality. We see here in Alex as well that shops are being looted and the shops are being set alight and burnt. So those issues of criminality are really such sticking points, not just for the police, but they also muddy up the true conversation that needs to be had around true transformation for not just poor South African nationals, but how to integrate foreign nationals who are in the country legally and to create an environment and an economy in Gauteng and in the country that can move forward with all these different people that are coming here, the melting pot, the rainbow nation of the globe, where we can stand as an example to show that we can work together as South African nationals, poor, well off, along with foreign nationals. Our sense of Ubuntu really needs to start coming back, and those are really the conversations that really need to start being had. However, the issue of criminality is one that the police need to keep a very serious lid on and make sure that they keep that issue of criminality completely damped down before a true conversation of transformation can be had.
Well, are there real issues here? Because remember, this started, taxi drivers were concerned about drug dealing, saying that the police were involved. But now are there genuine protesters protesting in a non-violent manner over issues, or has it become, and it seems like this to many people in the country, just a free-for-all in terms of the looting, of the violence?
You know, Francis, I think we need to look at this holistically. We have seen this year alone that tensions have been brewing between foreign nationals and locals. And we saw earlier in the year that, the local people in Soweto were complaining, and they ended up looting some of the shops of the foreign nationals. And that was never really dealt with. And with the resurgence of the so-called Nigerian foreign nationals, or the drug kingpins who ended up having a fight with police in the Johannesburg CBD earlier in August, we saw that issue adding on to an already volatile situation that was never addressed. And with the most recent incident of the taxi owner that was shot by an alleged Nigerian national, that really was just the powder keg on an already volatile situation. But besides the situation being volatile, it's issues that still have not been addressed, issues that have been dealt with on a very surface level. People are complaining about they don't have jobs. They feel that foreign nationals are taking competition. They're competing with them for resources. Those are the key issues that need to be dealt with. How do poor people get access to housing, get access to social grants, get access to job opportunities, to education opportunities? If we as a society, if government as a society can start dealing with those issues, those are the core issues that are the underlying issues that are, exacerbated by the intolerance that we're seeing by locals towards foreign nationals. And now police are roped in to maintain law and order, because now we're seeing the looting and acts of criminality manifesting themselves and expressing themselves as a result of the core issues that are really not being dealt with. And that's the conversation that we're hearing from foreign nationals, that we're hearing from some of the South African people say this is a broader conversation that needs to be had. It's not just about police coming through at the end phase of it when there is a criminality and there's the looting. It's about us as a society having the conversation with all the stakeholders to talk about the true issues that need to be dealt with, and how those issues can be actioned, and how action can be taken by government to bring those changes to South African nationals as well as to foreign nationals. Francis.
Nazing, tell me, what about the shop owners now? Presumably, if you don't have insurance, you can be left destitute. We're seeing those goods. It doesn't look like trading goods, but sort of tables and things behind you. What is the position of many of them now?
So behind me, where we're standing right now, this street is normally a very busy street, and this is where some of the street vendors trade. So they sell goods such as fruits and vegetables and small little items that people who are walking towards the taxis or towards the mall can buy. But they were given a heads up last night, so they were quite aware that there was this issue of the looting and the criminality that was taking place. So they were able to make sure that they put aside all of their goods and were prepared for the looting that had happened. However, The big issue now rests with the shop owners who were renting out space in the formal businesses here. And the one gentleman that we spoke to says he's lost millions of rands, and while he does have insurance, his insurance is not necessarily going to cover all the damages. The gentleman that we spoke to has a liquor store. His fridges were stolen, fridges that had merchandise in. The shop itself was looted, the racks were looted, as well as certain sections of the shop inside were set alight. So he says that while the insurance will be able to cover part of the cost, the rest of the cost comes out of his pocket, and he does not have millions of rands to be able to restart. So he's looking at a situation, or he's facing a situation where he either closes shop, and he doesn't pay for his workers, the 7 workers that he has, and his business is completely over, or he goes towards funding, he speaks to the insurance, and he hopes that he'll be able to rebuild himself. But for some of the Somali foreign shop owners who themselves came into the country with, some of them literally the clothes on their back, they're saying that the amount of money that they've lost is almost detrimental to them, and at this point it's probably cheaper for them to go back home than to restart their businesses here. So the financial aspect of the looting and the criminality has got such serious consequences, not just for the foreign shop owners, but also some of the South African locals that were hired to work in those shops. So it really just seems to be such an unfortunate and negative domino effect, that the criminality not just affects the foreign shop owners, but it also affects the job opportunities of South African nationals themselves who were hired to work in those particular shops. So it does seem to be a vicious cycle. And again, at the core of it, the issue of the true socio-economic issues at the heart of it, those are really the issues that need to be dealt with. The grassroots issues are the ones that government and all the various organizations and think tanks and sectors of society, South Africans, foreign nationals, everybody needs to have that conversation to deal with the core issues so that we can start seeing genuine transformation and a move away from this level of criminality and looting that has manifested itself as a result of genuine issues that are had by many of the South African people that feel that the situation and the economy is just not open and transformed enough for them.
Final question, very quickly, Nozintombi. Could we say that Alexandra right now is calm?
Right now, you can see behind me that some of the residents who were standing quite a ways back are starting to move back. You just saw one of the gentlemen moving right past me, and the police are starting to disperse. And what the police are saying is that they're seeing that calm is being brought back to the area of Alex. However, they are still maintaining a very strong presence inside the Pan-African Mall itself to make sure that no looting and no criminality takes place. However, the police are making sure that they are doing their rounds and they're trying to make sure that order is kept. However, business must continue. People need to get to work. People need to go about their business. And we're slowly starting to see that, Francis, people are starting to come out of hiding and people are starting to really take stock of the sheer devastation and the sheer criminality that's just happened in the space of less than 24 hours. And, it really will be such a humbling experience for them to see what the situation looks like here, the looting, the mess, the litter, the shops that have been completely vandalized, and the police presence that's here. So, Francis, we are seeing that normality and order is being restored back here in Alex. However, police are keeping a very close eye on the situation, and they're making sure that people go about their business in a very orderly fashion. With that, right, Francis, it's back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much for that update from Alexandra Township in northern Johannesburg, the SABC's Nozintombi Mia. Now, Police Minister Becky Cele is expected to meet Izinduna from the Denver and Cleveland hostels today. That follows overnight violence and looting of shops in several areas across Gauteng.